The doors of the bar are now open. Cam gives us the lowdown on the new Canon PowerShot V10. We actually got this pre-release, guys, so it's pretty exciting stuff. We also have a chat about what it's like photographing, videoing live events such as Glasgow, Wimbledon, and we do actually just tip our hats to some of the creative decisions that have been made recently that caught our eye. Plus, also a guy covering baseball got more than he bargained for, and then we do talk about photographic awards. Are they much cop, or are they a little bit of a farce? Well, welcome to the Photography Bar. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined with Cam. And before we get into all the things that we want to talk about, Cam has a couple of things he would like to say.
I do, Mark, and it's for all of you listeners out there, just to say that if you enjoy the show, please make sure to support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and you can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, and all of these will be linked in the show notes. Please also leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app, such as Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. Now, Mark, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you very much. And it just occurred to me, actually, we were talking about all those socials that we always have to sort of go through. You eagle-eyed listeners probably have noticed we haven't added threads yet. I mean, is that something do you think we're going to do? Or
well, what was it? They had, was it 30 million or however something many like in the first day or something, and that's all kicked off as well, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
And but another social media platform, which is what we all need. We all need another social media platform in our lives, don't we?
We haven't got enough of social media running our lives.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah. So, Mark, we are very busy in the photography world at the moment, aren't we? We've got all sorts going on.
Oh, it's been crazy. I mean, the summer is basically our busiest time, isn't it? Which is unfortunate because that's when the good weather is, and it's when I'd really like to be having a barbecue. But it's been tough going the past few weeks, and it's going to continue this month as well, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it's all good, and things are going well. Now, I wanted to jump into our friends from Canon, who have very kindly sent us another product for review. Yeah. And the great thing about this is, having had this product, we're one of the first people to get our hands on it, because this was sent to us pre-release. And it is a new camera. It's called the Canon PowerShot V10. And as I said, Canon sent it to us. We had it for a few days. In fact, we took it with us to the Wales and West photography show. So we'll good play about with it there. And basically, this PowerShot V10 is basically a camera designed for vloggers.
Yeah.
Okay, but content creators
is what they prefer. They don't like the word vloggers, do they?
We call vloggers. That's right. It's been designed specifically. It takes video. That's what it's really for. But it also takes photos as well. And now it's a pretty nifty little bit of kit. Because when I saw the picture on the box, I didn't know what to expect. They just said, "Look, we're going to send this over to you guys. Do you fancy giving it a review?" I said, "Yes, of course." I did. As I said, I was expecting something, that looked a little bit more like the traditional PowerShot range that they had.
Do you know what it reminded me of? And I know it's a little bit different. Do you remember those Sony camcorders that it was the digital tape ones before we started recording things onto smart movies? There's those sort of upright handheld ones with they said it reminded me a bit of that. I mean, it's smaller than that. Yeah. It just gave me that kind of vibe.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's so just the look of it felt like quite cool, in that when it records, unlike a phone, if you're recording video, say for something like TikTok or Instagram, you're always recording your video in portrait. Whereas this is a landscape. This screen is actually landscape. Although it's a portable product, it's held sort of portably. It has a landscape screen to it, and that sort of takes you a little bit of time getting used to. But really, it's the correct way to shoot video, because you would normally always shoot video in landscape. It's holding it on phones. People are getting used to holding a phone up and shooting something in portrait mode. Yeah. A little bit odd. But as I said, it's a real nifty little thing. Very, very lightweight. About the size of a size and width of a standard mobile phone, I guess. something like that. Nice little screen on the back. But as I was saying, it's been designed specifically for vloggers. Very lightweight. A really sort of different type of design. You can pop it into your pocket, and it sort of fits in snugly, and including that as well, it's got a little stand on it as well. So the good thing about this is that you can actually pop it down on the table, open the stand up, which is built in. It's not a separate attachment or anything. And then you can flip the screen round and you can film yourself and obviously see yourself on the screen that flips up. I was going to say, is it a little bit like a GoPro?
GoPros are incredibly wide angle, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think it has an optical zoom. Sorry, I can't remember if you said that already.
No, it's a focal length of 18mm for stills and 90mm for video. So no, it doesn't.
So it doesn't.
Okay,
no.
so it is a wide view, but you do need that wide view for vloggers. Generally, need a wide view on it. But it's quite. But
GoPros are almost fisheye, aren't they? I mean, they're really wide.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I don't know I don't think you can zoom in with GoPros, can you? But this one definitely is. It's got a fixed wide angle lens. The interesting thing about this though is it's compared to a GoPro, and I was surprised about this. It's not actually waterproof. But saying that, the GoPro is like an action type of camera.
It is a different beast,
isn't? So maybe it doesn't need to be waterproof. I mean, it probably is water resistant, I would guess, to a certain extent, but not necessarily, waterproof, as they were saying. So you can't go around throwing around in water and doing that sort of thing, or getting it covered in water. But it's got some really cool features with it. In one, as I said, in the way that it's actually held. But let's talk about. Let's go from the beginning, Mark. We're talking about the shape, and we're talking about the buttons and everything. I think the buttons on the camera a little bit fiddly because everything's so small. I think that's one thing. You have to sort of almost put your thumb or your nail into some of the to press some of the settings. And I think that's always the way. As things get smaller, we love them as things that are small as well, but at the same time they can be a little bit fiddly. But it's not full of buttons in the back. It's got the round dial right in the middle, and then it's got 4 buttons, 2 left and 2 on the right. And you can, one is the menu button, one is a playback. You've got the record button on the front, which I think is quite handy. It's just underneath the lens, so you just put your hand around it, and if you want to record and you're filming yourself, you just press the button there. So the actual body is quite nice. The version that they sent us was in black. I don't know if they do it in any other colors at all. I know that we were recently sent, was it the R50 or something they sent us?
It was in white, wasn't it?
So and they sent it in white.
We reviewed that in a previous podcast,
and that took a little bit of getting used to just seeing it in white. But this was quite nice. The actual feel of holding it, very lightweight, is quite nice. Turning it on, the first thing that really sprung to mind was the face tracking, because I think it would already been programmed in or something, or whether it turns on the auto facing face tracking. So if you're obviously filming and you're moving around with a camera, and you're, say, zooming in and out, or you're walking through a room, or you're outside and you're walking along a path or something, it's obviously focusing as you're walking along. And I thought that worked really quickly. And we were playing a little bit about, weren't we, with the face tracking autofocus?
Yes, we were. Yes,
and I think that worked. I thought that worked really well, because with vlogging, unless you're filming yourself, a lot of vlogging is all about moving fast, moving to the left, moving to the right, moving up or down, and there's this fast. A lot of people that work very, very quickly when they're vlogging. Very much like a phone, I would guess. You're going to use it in the same way that you would with a phone.
Well, I guess it's for those same sort of applications, isn't it? I mean, it's a piece of equipment that is akin to what a phone can do for you.
Yeah.
It probably does it in much better quality, by the way. And it's more of a professional kind of thing than what a phone does. But it is to replace, if you're a content creator, that is doing stuff for Instagram or anything along those lines, then this would be the next step up from using your phone, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, it does record high quality video, and I say that not hesitantly, because it depends what you want to get. I mean, there's no point in comparing this, say, with, let's say, Sony A7 III or something.
It's not broadcast like
that. It's not.
It's social media quality, I'd say.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
internet quality.
So what it's actually used for is more than good enough. So I'd looked at some other bits and pieces of other people that had filmed on it, and they were saying, well, look, the quality isn't as good as this camera. It's not as good as other cameras and whatever. But really, it depends what your final result wants to be. And this is about picking something up and using it, turning it on, on very quickly and using it without having to faff around with so many buttons. When I played around with it, I turned it on and off a few times, then put it onto one standard setting, and I was good to go in light conditions. Then moving out to daylight, it seemed to adjust the light very well. So for somebody who wants to use something that's very quick, very easy, quite basic to use, once you've got the standard settings in, then it's great. But saying that, I was able to set it to those standard settings because I've got a bit of background knowledge on what settings I wanted to put it on. If you're coming in as a complete beginner, yes, the menu can be a bit of a minefield, but you have to learn those things. But there are the sort of auto settings, as it were. But yeah, from sort of quality wise, I think it's really good. It shoots 4K, records for up to an hour, and also does 1080 60p full HD. So, and the other things, just reading from the list of things, it's got some inbuilt ND filters. Now, those of you that are familiar with ND filters, incredibly useful. When it gets too bright, too dark, you can just pop on your ND filter, and particularly when you're outside and it gets bright sunshine, you can just adjust that ND filter to, bring your exposure down to something that's correct without having to adjust any other settings in your camera.
Is it gradual? Is it gradual? Is it an ND grad? Or is it just plain?
I think it's got, from what I remember, 1, 2, 3 clicks on it. I think it had 3 clicks because we've not got the camera anymore. It was gone back, so I don't have it here actually to hand to hold. Charging wise, it's got the USB-C and the usual and the usual sort of Canon apps that go with it. Now, what the other good thing about this is that you can live stream from it, and that's one of the things that they wanted to do and make it easy. And we've got to be honest, we struggled with that, didn't we?
We did. I think what it came down to was it was the general the reception, phone reception of where we were wasn't very good. And in fact, because we were at the Wales and West show at the time, we actually went to Canon and asked them how what are we doing wrong? And you do it through your phone. You kind of connect it Wi-Fi connection with your phone, and your phone uses the obviously the signal to then post wherever. However, if there is no phone signal, you cannot live stream. I think that's pretty obvious anyway. But yeah, that was an issue. We couldn't get the live stream to work because we wanted to do a little thing, didn't we, whilst we were there? But we couldn't get that to work. Would have been I obviously, because you had the camera, I didn't take it home with me. I probably would have tried it from home. But did you manage to try it? Or
I did, but again, I needed to become more familiar with it, and it was one of those things when you actually sort of said to yourself, well, in actual fact, it's just much easier if I just do this on my phone, because a phone, you always know, you just set up good and ready to go with it. So there are a lot of people that would say, well, it doesn't really replace my phone. The phone's just easier to use. I wouldn't say
is it easy to use, or is it just that we're more familiar with it?
I was going to say exactly that. It's not that. It's just that we need to put it on the right settings and get familiar with that, as we do with a phone. We've all had to learn how to use a phone. That's one of the things that, and I think again that you have to learn how to set up and get familiar with all of the things that are within that menu. Then sort of going back to that menu, once you go into the menu and you press that round dial that you've got there, everything's in there, but it's all there to be explored. And it's about sort of going through it, setting it to the right settings and finding out that if you want to stream live, how can you do it? And you can connect it so that you can stream it through your phone as well. You can do all of that through the Canon app. And also it's worth bearing in mind that the apps that they have, they get more and more advanced as well. So you'll buy a camera, but they'll improve the software on it. So the good thing about these cameras is that as they actually get better with time, they improve. You're not stuck with it from sort of when you buy it. So
which is good. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Overall, I think what we said about picture quality was really good, but remember, really good for what it's intended to be used for. So I wouldn't say, all right, I'm going to go out and film a wedding, or I'm going to go out and do a little commercial job for it or something, because it's not built for that. So let's not try and compare it, with too much. It's got to be compared with like for like.
It's better than a phone.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is better than a phone. It is better than a phone, but only if but only if you know what settings to use, and by experimenting and playing with it. With a phone, you sort of turn it on and you're almost good to go with a phone. Here you can do a lot more. You can get far more sort of creative with it as well. I think. And I think well, cost wise, you've got to weigh that up. I mean, how much is your average phone?
Well, an iPhone is about, oh, I don't know, £1,000. I think if you were to buy it out, it's probably over £1,000 if you're going to buy it outright. We generally do it on a phone contract, don't we? So it's what, £50 a month or whatever it is, including whatever data you've got. So it's hard to actually put into it. But yeah, I mean, but then a phone does a lot more than just shoot a video, I guess, doesn't it? So is it like for like? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's
No
yeah,
respect.
yeah. I mean, it's not like for like, because yeah, as you said, a phone does do a lot more. This is built specifically for a purpose.
Yeah.
But I mean, it retails. There's two versions of it. The actual camera
Okay.
the actual camera is the same in the two versions. It's just that what you get with it gives you like a I think it's about sort of £430 to buy the actual basic camera kit. And that comes with the camera. It comes with the little stand, the built-in stand. And I think the built-in stand is really nifty. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
with
I liked that.
and within the box, you get the power cable, you get the case, there's a lens cap, there's a windshield and wrist strap as
Hang
well
on,
for it.
you get a case.
Yeah, you get it. Well, yeah, it's a soft case. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
just like a little pouch, which is really good.
wow.
Now, one thing I didn't say was the mics on the top, because I'd actually tried the sound. And I thought the sound recording was really good because, from what I remember, it's got two little mics built at the top, so it gives you stereo sound. But it's also then gives you those little windshield things that you can put on. So if you go outside, okay, so I mean, it really is like two fluffy ears that you put on the side of it. But I thought that was really good.
It's a good little extra, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know? And I'm laughing about the case. Back
Yeah.
in the days, you sell a compact camera. I was working for Jessop's. You never got a case with a camera. So
Yeah,
the fact that it comes with a case is how things have changed.
Yeah, and so that's retailing at about £430 in the UK, and then the second option, as I call it, the advanced kit, that's priced at £460, and basically that comes with a cage. So it looks like Canon have got together with a company called Small Rig, and basically what it allows you to do, you can attach this this cage to your camera, and from there it's got all these little attachments where you can screw in a little ring light, an external microphone.
That's pretty cool.
So you can put all of these attachments. Now, I didn't have any of those attachments to actually screw into those things, but we were sent the advanced kit that was in there, but I didn't actually use it. I did have a look at it. I could see how it works very well.
So all in all,
two kit options, all in all, and this is what people want to know.
Is it a good bit of kit?
I think it looks really cool. I think that's the first thing. It does feel quite nice stands. What I would want to do is I would want to use it a lot more. I'm not going to explain this very well. I would really want to test it out, okay, in sort of more extensively, putting it into different, using all the different modes, and then really doing a like for like comparison with my phone. And I've got a Samsung Flip, okay, and I do believe that it's not so much the quality, because this is going to be better quality than the phone. I can put all these attachments on, I can do all of that. The only reason why I'm saying is it's ease of use. Okay, if I was to use my phone knowing that it was going to be easier, more immediate, I could pick it up and go. Is that more of a priority than quality?
Well, again, I think the issue there is what you're using it for. I think if you're this is quite a specialist piece of kit, really, isn't it? Because it is for a specific job, and that is, content creating. Vlogging is essentially what it's for. Yeah. But they don't like using that word. And if you're making money on doing that, and it doesn't have to be production quality, then yeah, I can understand why people would want to buy it. And actually, I would then understand why people would take the time to learn it. Yes, the phone might be easier, but you are getting a better quality of product, I guess. Yeah. And the product is the video that you're selling on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. That is where people make their money. So I can see that. I don't think this camera is really directed at people like us. I'm gonna say, because that's not what we do primarily. It might be useful for some online marketing for our photography businesses, But that is where you might go, yeah, I'll just use the phone for that, because it's not something. It's not a product for us, is it?
No, it's not a product for us.
When I mean they're not a product for us, I don't mean the Canon product isn't for us. I mean it's not a product. If we were to use it, we wouldn't use it. Whatever footage that created, we wouldn't use that to sell to someone. That's not our product. That's what I mean.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. So my decision would be, or one of my decisions would be, is the ease of a phone better than rather than the quality of it? If I wasn't so fussed about the quality, I'd stick with the phone. If quality really mattered, okay, and it was really important, then yes, I would go for that, hands down. Okay. And what I really like about it is the real sort of pros for me are the feel of it is really nice. It's got this really, really handy stand, a built-in stand, which is great. So you can just sit it down and record yourself. Okay. And also the screen at the back, which flips around. And also the final thing that I really like about it is that the screen is landscape. So you're not having to record, you're not holding a camera to record video in portrait mode. And I think that's the other thing. And that's traditionally what it is. And you know what? I think a lot of us are starting to get used to the idea, if we record video, record it on our phones, that we're holding it as portrait. Because I looked at it and I thought, oh, actually, that feels a bit odd. Looking at the screen, but it was a landscape screen, and video is traditional landscape. So I think, but I do really like that as well. Great product. I think, it's for those of you that are vloggers out there, get hold of it, see if you can try it, give it a go, see if it's for you. I think it's great to see Canon are doing something different. Okay. And they are innovators. I think Sony are innovators, Canon are innovators. I don't think, and some of the other photography companies, one in particular, are particularly innovative in any way at all. And I love the fact that Canon are doing this just to break new ground, just to something different, a different design. They didn't send me one of their old sure shot cameras, which is what I was expecting to actually get. They got me something that made me think, whoa, this looks pretty cool. What's this?
It's a new thing. I mean, I guess it's also an experimental thing. I dare say they've done a lot of research on it, and they've done a lot of focus groups on it. Is this a product that people need? I guess it being the type of product, it might be a risky one. Will it or not? I don't know. But it is. I think it's a nice bit of kit. I think it's if it's something that will really help you, the kind of business that you're in, then it would be a good, worthwhile investment. Like I say, I would be buying one because it's not the sort of tool I need. And I'd imagine you're in the same boat. But just by the way, just for those listeners who are thinking, what Sony camcorder was Mark talking about earlier? It was the DCR PC100E. Look at
right.
It just reminded me of that.
But finally, just like my final thing I want to say on the Mark is I want to applaud Canon for that. I want to applaud Canon for doing this, for putting it through. And I'm not saying that because they send us products for review. Our products are as honest working. If you want technical reviews and something as far as a more technical in-depth review, then you find those online. Ours are for real photographers and vloggers, as it were, just actually in use. I'd certainly applaud Canon for trying something new, being bold, something unique with their design as well. And we love that as geeks. We always say we're geeks, aren't we? I think all photographers and videographers are Greeks. They love their tech and everything. So great, thumbs up certainly from me, Canon, on that. So
awesome stuff.
Good stuff.
Right,
Mark.
drink time.
Okay, let's go for it. My round.
All right. Right then. Well, yes, there's been quite a few live things to watch recently. I'm not sure if you watched Glastonbury. Wimbledon's on at the moment. You got the cricket, and I just wanted to, speak about actually some of the camera angles and some of the creative decisions that I've noticed on certain bits. I've actually been really impressed with that. I don't know about you, Cam, but I saw a bit of Andy Murray's match before he got knocked out. And I loved some of the camera footage from the actual net when you see him running up and hitting a half volley or something. And I was just like, that's really, really cool. And obviously the Guns N' Roses set on Glasto. Yes, before anyone complains, I know Axel wasn't his best, but he's running around at 61 like he's doing a bleep test, so it was pretty impressive to me. But some of the camera footage on it, was just amazing. There's a couple of good shots of Slash, which I thought was really cool. And I noticed it when there was a shot of him playing guitar, and he has these mirrored aviators on, and you could almost see the colors in his aviators. And then they flick back to another member band, and then they flick back to Slash because someone had obviously seen it, and they zoomed in on his face, and you can see the crowd in his sunglasses. It was only like a split second. It's like, yeah, that's a great shot. And then there was another one, and it was just like the sort of the creative decisions that were made. Again, Slash, he was playing. They can walk to sort of the side of the stage, and where the camera was, you could just see him and then the vastness of the crowd. So it was almost like rule of thirds. So the crowd really taking the sky and the crowd taking most of the shot, and then there's just this little silhouette of Slash, which is so iconically recognizable anyway. And I just thought there were some brilliant bits of footage. Which I just want to, you know, we do like to sort of recognize these things when we see it, and it's great to see.
I always think that when you watch stuff like this year on year, you see how things change and improve. And I actually sort of really pick up on stuff like that because it's a great way to learn. Because these guys are, I think they're right at the leading edge. They're at the front line for creativity. And I think and as photographers and videographers, we all ought to watch how they're doing it, because it's not just the actual filming, the angles. It's the guys in the production that are geniuses. It's just as you were saying there with Slash, when that guy must have clocked that, right, you know, with those aviators he was wearing, and right, let's switch back to that. They're working at 100 miles an hour in those studios that they're working in, those guys that are filming. And
it's pretty much live as well, isn't it? I know there's a 15-minute delay from broadcast to the show starts 15 minutes earlier than the broadcast, but for them, they're working on it live, you know.
They are. They've not got the time to think that. I mean, theirs is really down to, I think it's just cutting really out sort of profanities and things like that. I think, you know, it's for that delay.
But they didn't do a very good job with Guns N' Roses on that.
No, I know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it was after 10 o'clock, wasn't it? I think so. I noticed that when it was the World Cup, last year, I've got to remember, it was December, wasn't it? The World Cup,
it was
November, December. In Qatar. I remember mentioning to you at the time, which I didn't like, how they were doing film shots of the crowd, and they were starting to use that depth of field and those cinema cameras, and where
I spoke about that. I spoke about that about the NFL a couple of years ago now, I think it was. So it's just low depth of field. It's all it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
low depth of field.
And I have to be honest, I don't like that, and I still don't like it. For me, it's just they were almost trying to be too clever and too sort of arty with it, and I'm just thinking, no,
I love it.
I don't think it works. It's like, but it's good because different people like different things, and they're trying things. You know, for me, it didn't work then, and I don't think it worked then. But I noticed that they weren't using it as much because I've been watching some of the Ashes, the cricket that's been going on as well, and not only is the coverage. I've noticed the coverage of the cricket is one thing that you do realise changes. It improves every single year, but you see it with the graphics that these guys are using on the screen and the stats that they show. That all changes as well. You know, and everything's becoming more immersive. You know, the camera angles are different. You know, they've got camera angles. You know, they've got the cameras that go over the glides over the top.
I love those.
You know, come down right almost onto the ground. They really almost, you know, and you know, I've not got a huge TV at home, but you can imagine having a massive screen at home. You really are. I mean, TV is an entertainment is moving towards sort of that whole immersive experience where I think you are literally going to be there, and that's where I think that's where TV and movies will go. Where when you do watch something in the future, it's like VR headsets, really, but it will be you just put your TV on and you're surrounded by the visuals. I think that's where, you know, that's almost what they're trying to do now. They want us to make us feel such a part of it now. And I think Glastonbury and the Ashes cricket, the tennis, as you were saying, the angles with the net, they're just getting more and more sort of immersive. It's great. And the quality of the stuff that they're putting out, the quality of the imagery is brilliant. You know, we're not looking at substandard imagery here. I mean, they're using such they're using equipment that's right there at the top of the game,
state of the art. Yeah, absolutely. And just the thing about that low depth of field footage, I mean, I have actually noticed it. I'm sure, I can't remember if it was a sporting headline but I'm sure they're starting to use it in the news as well with the presenter.
They are.
Yeah, they're seeing it, and the background's out of focus. I really like it. I
I
think
don't.
I really do. Well, it's a good
I,
talking point, I guess.
So I've noticed on some of the the news coverage channels, whether it's
Yeah,
BBC here in the UK, whether it's ITV or Sky or something, that
yeah,
sometimes they'll send a news reporter out somewhere, and you can see that the camera guy is trying to be a bit creative. He's got a different type of camera or something, and they've dropped the
yeah.
background out of focus. And the news reporter is just standing there talking to camera. And yeah, for me, it doesn't work. I think it needs to just be a static shot,
I mean,
background and focus.
I guess some of it is to do with it's so much better having that out of focus background than it is when you're blurring people's faces out, which is something that people now have to do.
Yes.
I mean, I remember even in the 2000s, I walked past a news reporter, just a local news reporter when I was still living in Derby. And I got several text messages on my phone later on the day. Oh, hello, Mr. Famous Guy. Hello, Mr. Famous. Because, people had seen me just walk by in the background. You don't get that anymore. Everyone, the faces are blurred out. So I'm guessing using that low depth of field will just blur them out anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I guess that does help with post.
I guess it does, yeah. But I guess it's more a look that they're going for. But I would say that anyone, if any of you are watching any live event, whether it's, the cricket, the tennis in the summer here, there's going to be, I was there at the Isle of Wight Festival was on the week before Glastonbury. Is pay a little bit more attention. In fact, pay a lot more attention to the way that they are actually being filmed. And also the sound quality as well is getting so much better. It does, it's going to with technology. And you watch it, they're going to come out with new ideas and new things now. I was sitting watching Glastonbury. I watched quite a bit of it again this year, and I was sitting thinking to myself that I know that when you're actually at the event, it's always going to be, it's going to be much better. But I was actually thinking, when I was watching it, thinking, do you know what? It is so much more comfortable watching it from home, because the way it's actually filmed now, the way that it's actually broadcast, and because we've got our TVs are so much better at home, and we've got sound bars, everything. You almost sort of think, not in a no, I can't be bothered type of go. I'm an armchair fan. It's not that at all. But do you know what? It is great watching at home because you can really get into it purely because of the way technology has moved on with cameras and lenses and production and editing techniques. But Mark, now, I haven't spoken about sort of Glastonbury and the Ashes and the tennis and how things are being filmed at events. One of our listeners, Craig, sent us an email recently about a story that he'd come across and said, "Why, would this be worth talking about?" And we looked at it and we thought, "Wow, this is really good because there's a real lesson here for every photographer and every videographer listening out there."
Well, I mean, we were just talking about how great some of this footage is, and as you do have to bear a thought about the people on the ground who are giving us this footage, because actually it can be quite dangerous, I suppose, in a certain way. But to cut to the chase with this story, there was a photographer who was covering a baseball game. Now you have to bear with me; I don't know that much about baseball, but the game, is it a game match? I don't know. Anyway, he was covering the Pittsburgh Pirates versus the Miami Marlins, and it was an MLB game in Florida, and there was a foul ball that was hit. I don't even know really what a foul ball is, but nevertheless, I'm assuming someone hit it badly. But this foul ball, nevertheless, was traveling from the bat at 104 miles per hour and actually hit this photographer's lens. Now, the photographer, I'd say, was Jim Rassel. The lens in question was a Sony 400mm f2.n lens valued at $12,000. And this ball went full ball straight into the end of the lens. Now, like you said, Cam, it was Craig that sent us this email, but he did send us a link, and the link is from Petapixel. So best give them a shout. But yeah, it was a crazy thing. And there is a certain lesson to be learned here, Cam, isn't there?
There is indeed. Now, just before we jump onto that lesson, one thing I will, because you were saying you didn't know anything about baseball, and you made it perfectly clear in your description that you don't know anything about baseball, but I do know anything about baseball either. Now, but I've been watching a lot of the Ashes, the cricket here in the UK, and the fast bowlers are bowling anything between about 85 and 98 miles an hour, something like that.
Whoa.
So this baseball has gone in at 104 miles into his camera. Now, there is a story here. There is a lesson to be learned here. Obviously, you're going to need to protect your gear. And in these situations, you never know what's going to happen. But let's talk about insurance. Did the photographer have adequate insurance, Mark? You would have thought so, because he was probably, if he's a freelancer, he must have done. You're not going to buy a lens, are you, with worth that much and not have insurance? Or was he covered by the company that he was working for? Was he on a shoot? So obviously he had insurance, didn't he?
Just to say as well, baseballs apparently this is a regular thing, right? So baseballs will sometimes hit broadcast cameras during games, apparently.
Right. Okay.
But those cameras are often equipped with filters that protect the actual lens element.
I get that.
So while expensive, those collisions don't usually end up with completely destroyed lens, which is what's happened here. It's far more uncommon for a baseball to hit a photographer's lens. So he was a photographer. He wasn't a videographer.
Broadcaster.
It wasn't a broadcaster. No.
Yeah.
So especially considering that most are in the photo pits and at some level of protection, which prevents this sort of situation happening, basically, according to Petapixel. But there was actually, with this post, there was an update, and actually turns out that Russell's equipment wasn't insured.
It wasn't insured.
It was not insured. So the lens is a total personal loss. A group of his fellow photojournalists have launched a crowdfunding campaign to help him replace the lens, and apparently it's received an impressive amount of support thus far. It's a freak accident, Jim says. Jim Russell, the photographer, he said, freak accident. He's worked every day grinding out mostly sports assignments for wire services after leaving the South Florida Sun Sentinel. So he was obviously Sun Sentinel must be a magazine, a paper or something. So the South Florida Sun Sentinel senior photographer, yes. So he used to work there. He's a freelancer now. And of course, he has to supply his own equipment, including computer and software. But all my stuff is insured. I don't know about you, but I've also got personal liability, personal indemnity. I've got all of that stuff.
I wonder if he just overlooked it, or whether it was just one of those things that he'd forgotten to do, or do you think, he'd bought it and just didn't think, you never think it's going to happen to you, which is why we all have insurance, don't we? Where, I'm sure I'll be fine with it. I'll pack it away carefully, put it in my bag, but we're going to be an event, and so anyway, a lesson to be learned there for everyone is make sure that your insurance, that your gear is actually insured. And that has reminded me, because I think I do need to do some checks as well, because I had an email a few days ago saying that your insurance is due for renewal. So I'm going to ask them to send me a list of what's insured and what isn't insured. I think I do need to update that. I do. I know I do. So interesting there, and interesting lesson for all of us. So Mark, I think it's your round.
Is it my round again? Are you sure? So, Cam, I understand you wanted to have a chat about something. Now, for those avid listeners, we know we have covered this before a few years ago, but I think it's worth talking about again, really, because it is something that it's a bit of a hot topic for Cam. He does like to sort of share his views about it, but I can understand it because I think it's a bit bizarre bit of marketing, really, isn't it? But...
Yeah, I do, and it's basically awards, and in particular, it's the wedding industry awards, which seem to have cropped up in recent years. And I've noticed, though, saying that, I mean, I've been receiving some emails from two companies in particular about the wedding industry awards. But going back before COVID, there were others as well, which I've not heard from now, whether they're just not doing it at the moment, or it's just not come around to the time of year where they need to be doing their awards and everything. But
they
seem
to have been revealed.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or they just seem to have, they're just not around anymore, or whatever, maybe just not the right time of year. But the wedding industry awards, are relevant or not, Mark?
Well, no one ever emails me about this stuff, so perhaps my work isn't good enough. I mean, it's a strange one. I have received some sort of mention awards and things like that through Venture when I worked for them. I was, they have this portfolio which is worldwide, and my work's ended up in there and stuff, which is very nice. Although it doesn't really transcribe for me being self-employed, because no one really cares about the Venture awards if you're outside of Venture. But no, I mean, it's not something I've had a lot of contact with other than that, really.
You see, the industry isn't regulated in any way.
Right.
There might be a group out there and say, well, look, no one else is doing it, so we're doing it, and these are the people that we've got who are we're the ones that have set this up, and they have these celebration dinners, and they put the videos up, and these local suppliers who attend this awards evening because they've been voted the best wedding cake maker in the southeast, or the best photographer in the northeast or something. And I don't know about these awards because I've really been ignoring these emails. Won't say who it's come from, but more often than not, it's get your customers to vote for you. And really, if anyone,
what does the email say? What do you have to do? I mean, what let's just break it down.
Well, the thing is well, I'll need to bring up the email because I didn't want to. I don't want to actually read it out because I want to say I don't want to
paraphrase. You want to paraphrase, I guess. Don't you?
That's right. Yeah, and but while I'm finding it, my thing on it is that who votes for it, because it's very easy to say get your customers to vote, because if you're interested in attending in winning that award, of course you're going to get your family and friends to
not to vote for you. Yeah, of course
That's
you
right,
are.
yeah. And
but
how much do they actually know? I'm sort of pausing because I don't want to come straight in and say, oh, these people are wasting everyone's time, they're not legit or anything like that, because these people they're trying something. I mean, I've just put up an old email from them. This goes, well, I say old, it goes back. It says, we're trying to bring credibility and recognition, and it builds, this is what awards do. They can help build your brand. I get all of that. But nothing is actually, as I said, it's not regulated. There is nothing stopping me from putting up on my website saying award-winning photography. I could make up some names of some awards and put them on my website, say I won these awards. Okay.
Yeah.
And for me, it's nonsense. I have to say it. I have to say it straight out. Does it bring work in? Is it marketing? Yes, I think, yes, it is marketing. There are people that are going to go on there and say, oh, well, look, he or she's won an award. They're the best, wedding DJ in the
southeast.
In the southeast.
Yeah.
And some people will say, yeah, that's me. I won that award. And hey, if you're not in it, then you're not going to win it. Okay, so but you look at it from both sides.
You're not being judged by your peers, are you? And I think that's the thing. It's not like other DJs have gone to this. Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
this guy. He uses the right amount of interaction with the crowd. He uses the right tunes. His customer service apparently has been really good.
Yeah.
But we've been sat in this wedding all night and we're watching him do his thing, and he's amazing. It's not that. You have people voting for you who, like, let's say, let's go back to the photography world now. You have people voting for you who you shot their wedding for. Well, how do they know you're the best photographer in the southeast? Because they've only used you. So there's a very little frame of reference there. So
yeah. And it goes on to say, and I've got to be careful here because I'm not going to say who it is, but it says on the website, and this is going back several months ago, it says about the awards, it is not simply about the total number of votes received. It says just because one wedding supplier does more weddings than another doesn't necessarily mean that they are better. It says, so each entrant's average voter score will be calculated and used throughout. The proportion of each entrant's eligible voters who will vote will be also taken into account by the panel when necessary and applicable. The use of each entrant's average voter score enables suppliers of all sizes to compete on a level playing field. This is a vital aspect of these awards. Yeah, that's fine.
What are they voting on?
Yeah, and so
is it photography? Is it the photography? Is it the customer service? Is it the whole? What is it that they're voting on?
Yeah, and fair play to these guys. They're trying to do something, and but I don't think it's something that you can actually really do and regulate. I mean, look at the societies. You go to their show, their trade show that they have, and they have an exhibition. of all of the photographers that put work in, and they award that you know, they'll pick their favorites and whatever.
But that's judged by their peers, isn't it?
Now,
They're judged by the.
Now we've spoken to those judges, and how do they
Yeah.
judge those pictures, and what really, you know, what makes it. Now that's completely different to these awards, because if you're looking for the best wedding photographer in the Southeast or the best wedding photographer in London, I'd always be dubious that if I looked at a website and it said best photographer in Birmingham, 2023, you know, I'd be thinking, well, you know, but then I know the industry, but then I'm aware of that, you know, if someone said voted best DJ of the year 2023 for regional, you know, I'd be thinking, you know, I would be sort of, I wouldn't necessarily sort of take that on, and unless it's a national award by a nationally recognized board or something, then then that is different. And then would I enter something like that was that I thought that I would think would be valid, then yes, you know. But then some people are going to say to me, well, I entered the awards, I didn't win, but hey, you know what, I've picked up a lot of work. And then you think, well, it's a no-brainer, because if you've used that as your marketing, and then
why are these people in existence? I mean, where's the money for them?
Well, they host these award dinners.
Right.
So you pay to go to, you know, you book a table of, say,
you pay to go to your own awards, do you?
Yeah, that's right. You pay for your dinner. So somewhere along the line, these awards have been set up, and the organisers, these event organisers, shall we say, are making money from it, because, you know, fair play, that's their job. If they're making money through organising events, that's fine. If that's their job, if that's how they earn money, then great. I don't have a problem with that. Don't have a problem with that at all. What I do is how valid these awards are. You know, that's my only concern. And also, if somebody says that's the best DJ in the Southeast, what makes that person, and you know, why is that person the best DJ? It's just because they've had a lot of people that, you know, because they've bothered to, they've bothered to enter the awards. But then you're never going to win any award if you're never going to enter it. It's like a national lottery, isn't it? If you're not going to enter, you're not going to be a lottery winner.
But you got a lot of, you basically done a bit of a voting campaign. I mean, I guess in some respects that's what happens in the Oscars, wasn't it? I don't know if you get nominated and then you do it, but you know, there are press packs sent out. There's a lot of stuff happening for someone to win an Oscar. Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of politics that go into that as well. You know, they need to be seen to be transparent. The Oscars is a different thing, and I'm sure that there are things that go on that, you know, we don't know about. That, you know, but
no, I wasn't saying anything untoward was going on. All I'm saying is I don't know how it works. If obviously you got to be in a pretty good film to be consideration, and then I know a lot of sort of in industry marketing goes on for that film, that director, for example, that actor, to get the Oscar or even to get the nomination. There's a lot of press packing, there's a lot of marketing going on to the right people, not necessarily things we would see. It's to the I guess the Academy Award people.
Yes.
I'm not saying anything untoward, but there is an element of marketing going on to get that person to win an Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the things that they have, and they have best sort of wedding transport of the year. You know,
I love the fact they're using transport, so it's any mode of transport.
That's right. Yeah. So what makes somebody, who's going to be offering who's going to make somebody an award winner for that? Anyway, just want to say, because I've been seeing some of this on social media. I've been getting emails about it. You know, you need to enter, and it's really simple to enter, and it's a national award and that type of thing. I'm not so sure about them. If you do enter and you've won, or you do enter and you've not won, and you just think these are a good idea, then let us know, because we I've just had sort of my opinion on it, but I do always like to see both sides of the story. So I'm not going to say that they are a complete waste of time. What I'm saying is that, in my opinion, is that how valid are they? I think that's really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, doesn't seem particularly real, I guess, but But anyway, that's food for thought. But yes, please do get in touch with us. We're always happy. As you know, Craig got in touch and we said the story. So we're always happy for people to get in touch with us. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please do like, follow, subscribe to all the major socials. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're also on YouTube. All brand new, spanking, yes, YouTube. So do get us on. We promise for all those people who do listen to us on YouTube, we will start doing videos soon. We're just a little scared at the moment. Yeah, please do like us, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Email in, all that, because we love having our listeners getting involved. And with all that said, I believe that is everything. Thank you very much, Cam. Nice seeing you again. And yeah, we will see you all at the next one. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys.